$WARD $ nigga. NAYIMED. Welcome to my channel. My name is Nayim. I am your host, and today I want to talk about how everything you say and everything you do, if people can, they will weaponize it against you. Even if the incident was only in proximity to you, you will be held accountable for everything that goes on in your life, whether you want to be or not. I saw a screenshot going around that said, "Say no to sex offenders in Hidden Hills," and it was a fake photoshopped screenshot that said that Cardi B had signed it like 30 minutes prior to the screenshot going around. Of course, over here, we like to see, if these things, before we even talk about them, if these things have any validity. No, Cardi B did not sign the Say No to Sex Offenders in Hidden Hills petition. However, the Say No to Sex Offenders in Hidden Hills petition is real. And what is it? It's a petition to get Nicki Minaj and her husband out of the Hidden Hills neighborhood where they had purchased their home. This was 6 months ago. I will put it on the screen. You know what? We're going to go through it. Because the reason that I'm bringing this up in respects to Nicki Minaj, not just it being her husband, who, if you know the history behind who her husband is, we don't have to go through all of that, but he got charged with something with some underage girl, and then it was some type of murder that happened. They want her out of the neighborhood. This says, Nicki Minaj and her husband, registered sex offender Kenneth Perry, have purchased a house in our neighborhood of Hidden Hills at, they put the address up, I'm not going to say that. Kenneth Petty is a level 3 sex offender convicted for the attempted rape of 16-year-old girl and has a high likelihood of reoffend. He was also found guilty for killing a man. He is currently under house arrest for failing to register as a sex offender in California as the law demands. The Petty couple moving in would lead to appraisal values of our homes to go down due to safety concerns. It would lead to children and women being a target. We, the residents of Hidden Hills, must put our residents' safety first. Don't wait to receive a letter from the government saying a predator has moved in near you. Do not allow this dangerous sex offender to live near you. Show that you are against sex offenders in our Hidden Hills neighborhood. And then it says, sign. It says sign and share this petition with neighbors, friends, and family to warn them. Talk to your local police station. Visit Hidden Hills City Association site to get in contact to voice your concerns. Now, in a perfect world, and I brought this up because I saw somebody, you know how like on these petitions you can leave a comment if you want to. Most people just sign them and keep it moving. Some people, maybe you'll get 10% or 5% or 3% of people who are actually leaving comments. There was a comment that, I don't know if I screenshotted the comment yet. Yeah, you get the typical comments about, oh, why would she marry a man like this? Why would she want to be with somebody like this? She's just as guilty and blah, blah, blah. But there was one comment that stood out to me, and it was the comment that said she is enabling or something like that because she still has lyrics praising him for murdering a man. And it's so crazy because even though there is fault and guilt on her own, this thing is going to be amplified and going to be turned up. See, it's bubbling severely low right now because it's probably just sitting in their area and they're trying to get people, because people probably think that it's not serious. They have a picture of him. They got his name, his weight, his aliases, and all that. I didn't even know the man had a damn alias. What did it say? Avery Johnson is an alias or whatever. I don't know nothing about sex offenders' lives, so there's probably something common. But this thing is bubbling where they at. So it's probably just the people going around the neighborhood saying we don't want these people here. But there's a lot of reasons they wouldn't want Nicki Minaj there, because I believe that it would still be a problem for that section of Hidden Hills. I ain't gonna talk about Hidden Hills, but like for that section that they live in, if it was probably her by herself or somebody else, people would not be making a big deal out of Nicki Minaj living in the neighborhood, because we got to think about the type of people that live out there in Hidden Hills. entertainers, rich people, or whatever. That would be on this side of the argument. Basketball players, athletes, anybody who got money, business owners, investment people, all of that. But on the other side, there's regular people that live out there. It's regular people with regular lives. And I say regular people, like there's just doctors, people with their own practices, optometrists, all type of pilots, and all type of people who would have some type of money. And to get into those type of neighborhoods, you have to have a certain amount of money to even get over there. The Kardashians and Drake and all of them type of people live over there in Hidden Hills. So if you know anything about owning a home or moving into an area or moving into a neighborhood, they have homeowner associations and stuff. And people say, oh, they hate the HOA, but the HOA gives everybody in the neighborhood, really it's a racist type of situation a lot of the times. But when you have a bunch of people with affluence, because we got to remember that it's not just entertainers who live in these neighborhoods. It's not just athletes who live in these neighborhoods. There are people who, they come from old money who live there. It's passed down in their family, politicians. So you think you got, you think being, and it's messed up because this ain't really about Nicki Minaj for just like being on her. This is about how they're trying to use her lyrics to get her kicked out of the neighborhood, and how her lyrics are backfiring against her. This is more about her husband, but this is about the fact that in these neighborhoods, you think because you're the entertainer or you're the person with the most visibility, that does not equate to having the most power. Nicki Minaj is probably in that section of that neighborhood that they moved into the most visible person that would be out there if it came to people knowing who people are just from, face sake. But there could be politicians out there. There could be all type of people who have the ability to change regular people's lives every single day without having to sing or dance. So these HOAs come together to say, if you don't want this kind of person living out here, you can get them out of here. These are the same people who can say, people in this neighborhood do not like long grass. So your grass cannot be more than 4 inches tall. Like they can do stuff like that because these people pull their resources together, and these people pull everything together to say what can and can't go. A lot of people don't like HOAs and that kind of stuff. And that's understandable because if you buy a property, you should be able to do what you want to do. However, in society, and especially in places like those, because that's where them people like Epstein and all of that, and Ed Buck, those type of people live in those type of areas. So they're obviously making a big deal out of this because it's Nicki Minaj, and because who likes a sex offender? Like, let's be serious. That's like the lowest of the low thing on the podium when it comes to offenses. Because, like, what the hell is your problem? People aren't going to go and do no research about this man. People ain't going to go, or they might have. They got his criminal record. But people aren't going to go as far as, trying to figure out what may have or may not. They see a conviction and they running with it. And that is, a lot of the times, that's enough for people. But people do have the right to say, I don't want to live next to XYZ, whatever. And then it doesn't help your case when you have songs bragging about your man being a shooter, bragging about your man being a killer, bragging about whatever. I don't think they would have threw her in the mix with the lyrics if she never would have said that. She would have got thrown under the bus regardless because that's her husband. But these people, it was something in here that I wanted to talk about specifically when they was why they had this. So they went as far as to put what your level was. They said what you did. They said you broke the law. So they're already setting up the precedent for anybody reading this petition to be like, man, fuck that. Let's go ahead and get this nigga out the motherfucking way. We don't want him around here. And them people out there, they got that kind of power where people think that money is power, and money is power, but everybody ain't accepting your money. So how powerful is your money when everybody is not willing to accept your money? See, you can play gangster with us. You can bully us. You can say whatever you want to us. But when you're dealing with people who run the society, and you're dealing with people who run the institutions, and people who run every single day life, your money will become no good over there. So what good is it having $300-400 million if it's worthless for you to be able to live the kind of life that you want to live? They mentioned in here that, and this is what they're worried about for real, that the petty couple moving in would lead to appraisal value of our homes to go down due to safety concerns. It would lead to children and women being a target. So they already, so this is the thing about, this is why what we say in our music and the music and the image is so important, because they said that in the beginning that he will reoffend. Like they didn't say that, hey, maybe this happened XYZ amount of time ago. He paid his debts to society. See, that paid the debt to society shit, that's what we tell ourselves to make ourselves feel okay. Once you do something, if people, I'll say them people, but for real, anybody, like, if people feel like you did something, that's gonna be over your head forever. That's gonna be your life. It does not matter if you did something and you went and did your prison time and you did your community service and you did whatever. Like, that's good. This is why it's important to know how to structure and work your words so you can navigate after, life after a felony, life after a conviction, life after a fine. You gotta, as long as you can put your words together, you can navigate through that. It's always gonna be hit or miss, but the average person, certain crimes, people feel like you will never be able to, there is no rehabilitation for it. I date a therapist and she will tell you, she's one of the people who, she does not feel like there is no child that can be fixed. I personally don't feel that way. Some people are broken and that's the way that they're going to stay, but I feel like I'm more of a reflection of society than what she would be. Because if somebody said they did a sex crime on a kid, in your mind, you are, knock my glasses off, in your mind, you automatically associate child with 12-year-old, 10-year-old, 11-year-old, not 17-year-old, or a child that may have, just something like that. Nobody's going to go do that research. They put the age in here. Yeah, they said a 16-year-old, albeit still a child. So in your mind, you don't care. The number's not going to register. All you know is underage girl. Society looking at people like this, there is no rehabilitation for a sex offender. The only rehabilitation for a sex offender is a bullet in the head. Multiple bullets in the head. Cold. Never coming back. That is how people feel. That is the general consensus. But these people worried about their property value going down, and they worried about, like I said, they see you do something crazy, that's what you're gonna be forever. Once you get labeled a thief, people don't believe you stop stealing. People don't. This is just not the society that we live in. Her lyrics are just the icing on the cake. Her lyrics are just what they can use to further strengthen their argument that they don't want her in the neighborhood. And the reason that they don't want her there is just because of him. They don't give a fuck. Bro, them people was probably back in the day wearing pink wigs with fucking the halter top with the baby fat jeans and everything. They was doing the same shit that everybody else was doing back in the day. They still probably love her music. Or they probably hate her because when you start playing with people's money and you start playing with people's life and shit, people's feelings, you can't go off feeling. They don't give one fuck about that. So, I don't know. I'm going to keep an eye on this. I'm just saying I don't know in regards to, I know that it's growing slowly. Like, it hasn't taken off to know. They haven't even got like 2,000. They're getting up there to 2,000 signatures, but they don't even have 2,000 signatures for this petition just yet. But this is the reality, man. Everything you say is gonna come back. And I'm gonna be for real. It's fucked up, but I understand it's fucked up. And niggas should have been on his P's and Q's, but they still would have ran him out the neighborhood anyway. This is why I don't think a lot of people know, but so there's two type of trailer parks, right? There's like trailer parks for people who are broke or live in the country or some shit like that. And then there's specific home divisions for sex offenders and pedophiles. Because most of the time, a pedophile and a sex offender can't find nowhere to rent. This is why they don't ever they never usually, unless it's like Ed Buck or some crazy Jeffrey Epstein and motherfuckers like that who have so much money that they can just pay the system to leave them alone and shit like that. But a lot of these subdivisions that's like they remote or tucked over, or they look crazy as a bitch, or you see a Ford F-350 in the goddamn brand new shiny trunk with a busted down truck. Them people are sex offenders over there. I'm not throwing everybody in the box. Like I said, it's two different types. It's people who broke as hell, living in the middle of like nowhere or some shit like that, but they whatever. And then it's the places that's for pedophiles. This is where sex offenders can go and pay rent and have a living. That's why it always a little extra, but it always struck me when people said they was gonna go into real estate and they was gonna go into buying a trailer lot and putting trailers on the lot. Like, why the fuck would you do that if you can afford real estate? Like, but if it's a sex offender who can't find a way to live, they'll be living in a, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like I said, I keep an eye on it. NAYIMEDWARD $, nigga. NAYIMED.